All right, so ready, set, go. What we're going to do now is we've got this one where we've kind of have the different shapes and they're kind of being played out. I've kind of commented out my ellipse here very quickly. What I want to do next is I want to kind of play with the way that it interprets all the colors that are in there. And we kind of explored color a little bit before in the previous chapter, or unit. But what I'm going to do here is something maybe a little bit different. I'm going to, I'm going to look at the color values that are in there. Right now we're just changing here, here, the color that is the alpha. So set the alpha of color. And so we're setting it here to 20. But we could set it to something else if we wanted to as we go. And that's just the alpha one. But if we really kind of check this out, we could, in fact, say, let's look at, we'll let that one happen there. And then we'll move it down here just a bit and say, let's say if get color, if the get color of the red, which is the 0 one, is greater than, say, 100. So that means it's, remember the range is from 0 to 255, so it's a little bit past the middle on the way down. And what we could do here is then say, if the color is less than that, let's have it do something else. And in this case, let's mess with the color itself. We'll say, let's make the get color of 0. Then if it's greater than 100, let's turn it up all the way and we'll make it be 255. So now I'm saying at any time that the get color of any of the pixels, if the color of the red value in the RGB that is for that sample or for that get that we do, if it is greater than 100, then turn it up all the way to 255. So when we do that and then we run our sketch, let's see, did that work? So here you can see I've now taken it so all of the reddish parts, including my face and actually some of the sky, because I think it was closer to a white. So if it's white, remember that all three of those colors are high to make it be a white or light color. So that means like 255, 255. That means all of the three colors are high in the value scale. So you can see what has happened. I've kind of made this kind of Marsy, kind of devilly kind of interpretation of my color set. So you can really pick a palette here and do different coloring. Remember when we talked about color earlier, we talked about the mood, or if we talk about how a portrait has a certain blue or something like that. Let me think about this. If I wanted to change the blue value, then I could say, remember it's red, green, blue. So it's 0, 1, 2 is going to be blue. So if I pick 2 as my values, and let's turn our blue up all the way. Anytime blue happens here, now we can make our blue values be amplified. And I look a little bit zombie-ish or very purpley there, like I've been holding my breath. But you can see how now this has kind of changed it. Now, we can go even further than this. We can actually take those values and then do other things other than just change the color of that one altogether. And boy, that one I hadn't tried before, and that is terrible. Okay, let's do this. Let's go back to our red one quickly here. And instead of maybe changing the color for it, maybe let's now put in something else. Let's make maybe a little bit of text that's in there. So remember the text command, I can type in, I don't know, let's type in red. And where do I want to place this text? Let's place this text every time it's sampling, put it back where, put some red text back wherever it found red is basically what we're doing. If I run this one, and let's see if we can see it, might be a little bit tricky to see on this one, but now you can kind of see where it's getting these words red as it goes through. It's none of the red words are red, so let's fix that very quickly. What do I need to do here? I need to make them, guess I need to change the fill there, right? Fill 255, 0, 0. Let's try that. I haven't tried this one either before. Oh, there. So now we're getting these red tones, and it's definitely changed the way the kind of impressionist of painting here. We're using words to do it. Maybe instead of making it be red, maybe just a letter and run it that way. So there it's giving me a different kind of interpretation of it. And of course, I don't need to make it so heavy. Right now, everything else has a kind of an alpha to it. So maybe making it like that so it's a little bit softer. Now what's interesting here is I'm kind of making this image up now just out of letters, but I don't have to do that at all. I can make it up just with letters, and I don't actually need anymore this idea of having them all be like that. So here now I've kind of done this outline of all the things that are kind of red in that space. And I could choose to do that with all of those ones as I go. I could even just say, let me make instead, here, let me comment this guy back out and this one. So right now it's not doing anything with that. But instead of maybe a rectangle, I could, in fact, use letters here. So X comma Y. So what does that give me as a textured stroke? Here, as these kind of fill in and get a little bit bigger and better, you can kind of see the image of me in there. Maybe if we used letters that have a bigger density, would be a good one. M's. Put all those together. Can we see the image emerge from that? Just barely. I think what the problem here is our step is way too big. Let me put this down to just 12. And now if we look at it, the image should kind of emerge, even though it's all made just with M's. It's still struggling a bit. So it doesn't have to be the ellipse. It doesn't have to be that if you're trying to create something, some work of your own. It could even be, for instance, a line, and that line could be X comma Y comma, I don't know, X comma, or X plus 10 comma Y comma plus 10. That's going to make all these little, what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to make all lots of little lines like that. Let's see what that does. Is that just going to give me the actual image? It is not. Oh, because they're both going up by 10. If I just do it like that. They're all spaced out way too much. Oh, and my stroke is either no stroke or not enough stroke. Let's do one last thing here, and then I will call this and let you guys go for it to try this out. Stroke weight. Stroke weight. Remember this one from ages and ages ago. Let's make it be 5 at least. Run that one. Oh, still so small. What is my step? My step is 12. Well, that's probably why. Let's make it be 11. That'll give it still a little bit of a gap, right? So these ones are looking a lot more like little lines, but we can adjust this and add randomness to this. I'm going to make it so the stroke here is going to be Y minus 5. So when we run these other ones, here you can see now I'm creating a kind of a different pattern where they're kind of overlapping just a little bit and drawing them all out. Now, the reason why they're all gray is because I'm only doing the fill as the get color when I really need it to be stroke get color. And go. There we go. So it's going to require a little bit of playing around. Here I'm drawing a thick line that are all on this kind of angle as it goes. It's definitely using not maybe points to do it, but it's using these kind of stroke marks. We'll call them that since we're in the artist class. But this is the final one right now before I ask you to kind of attempt it yourself. Go in there, you can use text, you can use lines, you can use points, you can use ellipses, you can use polygons, you can use all the things that you can find inside that reference for shapes and geometry and things like that. I strongly encourage you to go in there and experiment. This one can take a lot of time to kind of play around with and do a lot of fun stuff with it. But you've got to kind of jump in and just not be afraid to mess up and experiment. And of course, like I said before, save early, save often, especially when dealing with for loops. Because if you make it infinite loop, you're going to have to close that and go back to your previous one. So good luck with yours. I can't wait to see what you put into the discussion and the chat for it. But I think it's going to be something amazing.